You know, I think the 6th generation of game consoles has to be my favorite by far. I mean, we had things like the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Nintendo GameCube. It seemed as if video game companies finally had everything together. Gone were the days of primitive 3D, gimmicks, and useless accessories. For once, everyone was on the right track. I think. Video games are a well-known form of entertainment. Without getting into technical aspects, they're as simple as grabbing a controller and pressing play. That's the way it's been and the way it should always be. But sometimes, some manufacturers and even game companies don't think that's enough. Even though the idea of having some sort of contraption to enhance your gaming experience has always been around, I'd say it didn't start gaining attention until the 3rd generation of consoles, specifically with the Nintendo Entertainment System. But why do I say that? Well, for starters, there was a time where every NES came bundled with the Zapper to play games like Duck Hunt and Baby Boomer, really the only game that matters. However, Nintendo didn't stop there. Alongside the classic Zapper came the Robotic Operating Buddy, or ROB for short. You see, accessories like ROB became so useless that they were slowly killed off and discontinued by 1988. On the other hand, Super Nintendo wasn't one for unnecessary add-ons. The 16-bit system only spawned the Super Game Boy attachment, which allowed for backwards compatibility with Game Boy games, something actually useful. Hey, you know Sega? It didn't take long for Sega to completely shoot themselves in the foot by destroying a perfectly good game system with monstrosities like the 32X and Sega CD attachments. When Sony hit the scene with the PlayStation, it was a huge success. Some accessories were practical, like memory cards and the multi-tap, which allowed for 4-player gameplay. But then someone had to go and ruin the fun for everybody with this, the PlayStation Analog Joystick. The convenience of a controller obviously wasn't good enough that someone had to make something that does nothing for your game. And that's really what I'm trying to get at here. Most of these accessories don't even need to be purchased. There isn't a single game that relies on some sort of awkward peripheral, and the ones that did bit the dust like that, which is why I always go back to the 6th generation of gaming, especially the GameCube. Once again, it was just controller and nothing more. This is a problem. In case you couldn't tell, I was trying my best to avoid this sorry little excuse of an accessory. But I guess it's in my hand now, so I could tell you about it. During my rant about unneeded accessories, I did purposely leave out the inclusion of the Nintendo 64. You see, not many accessories were made for the N64 other than the common things like the Rumble Pack or even Transfer Pack. However, most casual fans may have forgotten when Nintendo released Hey You Pikachu, a Pokemon game that isn't really Pokemon. The selling point of this game came from the included accessory, that being the microphone. It allowed the player to talk to their very own Pikachu. Obviously, this game was marketed towards a much younger audience, which is whack because I want to talk to Pikachu too! Anyways, the microphone didn't really work, and while Hey You Pikachu may hold nostalgic memories for a lot of people, you gotta admit it's pretty lousy. So fast forward to the year 2004, somebody at Nintendo looked back and said, "Hey, you know that flop we released 6 years ago?" Well, boy, do I have news for you. This mentality is what blessed us to have the GameCube microphone make its debut alongside Mario Party 6 on December 6th, 2004. Support also found its way in other games like Mario Party 7, Karaoke Revolution Party, and apparently even Chibi Robo. And that's pretty much it. 4 whole games were compatible with this thing, and none of which I own, so I guess I'm free from having to use this thing. And what do we do when we have options? Well, we go through my magical hat of video games, of course. I wonder what's inside. Odama? I've never heard of this one. Well, Well, I have two options here. I could A, play the game, or B, strangle myself with this cord. Fine, I'll play the stupid game. Okay, here it is, Odama, and right off the bat I gotta say this game is very true to that traditional Japanese style. It's actually very appealing, mainly because it's a style that typically isn't represented in video games. Like, even the instruction manual is unnecessarily beautiful. The whole thing looks like it was done with such love and care that it's kinda hard to avoid. Anyways, the story is as follows. Long ago, the land had been governed by Lord Yamanouchi of the Yamanouchi clan, until one of his trusty vassals, Karasuma Genshin, betrayed him, and rather than facing defeat, Yamanouchi chose to take his own life. The year is 1539. Tamachiyo, eldest son of Yamanouchi, is hungry for revenge. By using the Odama, one of the family treasures, it is up to us to guide the Nintendo through a path of destruction and war, and with that, the time for battle is upon us. Wait a second, this is a pinball game? As it turns out, the Odama is just a huge ball that masquerades as a regular pinball. You're supposed to use the Odama by eliminating troops from the opposing army, but watch out, you can also eliminate your own troops if you aren't too careful. And as for the microphone, well, it's your job to guide your army in the right direction. You can shout specific commands which your troops will follow. For example, yelling advance or fall back will result in that action. But there lies my first gripe with this game, and more specifically, the accessory. There's no comfortable way to use this thing. The GameCube microphone came with a little plastic clip that attaches to the back of the controller. But the only problem is when you buy this item used, you're more than likely not getting that clip with it. This in turn makes Odama a nightmare to play. I end up risking carpal tunnel, and after a few minutes I'm tired of playing. Luckily there's a simple way to fix this issue. All you gotta do is pull out the old duct tape and you're good to go. Okay, back to the game. Odama seems to be multiple games in one. First off, as I mentioned before, it acts as a pinball game. There isn't much to say about that, everyone knows how pinball works. Second, this is also a real-time strategy game where you have to make sure your army works the way you want them to. Think Clash of Clans where you place your troops but watch them do everything. Your ultimate goal is to reach the end of the battlefield, but good luck doing that because this game is incredibly tough. On top of needing every part of the brain to beat a level, you're also timed. If you've ever played pinball, then you should know that it's a high score based game. You're supposed to play for as long as you can. That just adds even more challenge to this already frustrating nightmare. But then again, maybe this wouldn't be so bad, but you have to use the GameCube microphone. Memorizing the commands isn't a tough task, shouting them into the mic isn't either. The problem is that my team just straight up won't listen to me. I'll be telling them to press forward and they just give me a sassy remark, and I swear one of my troops even said make me. The microphone is surprisingly responsive, but I still don't like it. When your team doesn't listen to what you say, the voice commands become redundant and could have easily been replaced by inputs on the D-pad. Out of the 11 stages, I was only able to get past the first 2. Now call me what you will, but I no longer want to waste my time playing this garbage. I'd much rather be playing one of my good GameCube games instead, not this sorry excuse of an accessory using gimmick. Huh? Well, I could have sworn I grabbed Pokemon. What the? Did you really think I'd allow you to play something other than what is compatible with me? Wait a second. How are you even talking? And what happened to my stuff? It seems that you've been talking so much trash that I was able to adopt your voice and make it my very own. But I don't talk like that. Why are you... Dude, I'm trying out this villain voice. Just go with it. Nice. But seriously, give me my games back. And why should I? I'm doing those games a favor by saving them from your harsh words and ridicule. Those games don't need that kind of attention. A true masterpiece is able to stand on its own 2 feet without the use of an extra accessory. 3D World, Strikers, Punch-Out. Yeah, I had my frustrations with those games, but they were all for reasons that required skill and opposed a challenge to the player. Silence! Now, accept your fate and realize that the only games worth your pathetic time are the ones that require my strength.
Hate, そうじゃ。早く軍議を開きましょうぞ。お見事。実にお見事な戦にございました。ただ早く決着されるとはさすがは我らが親方様にござる。まさに快進撃でございましたな、親方様。次なる戦が楽しみにございますぞ。
My time may be pathetic to you, and, well, while you're not wrong, it means a whole lot to me than you ever will! Uh-oh. Wow, he's really charging up. I suppose I could just move out of the way. But where's the fun in that?
次なる戦が楽しみにございますよ。
Video games are the latest craze to sweep the country and most of the world, too. Millions of people are addicted